Bob's Breakfast.
When a meal has been ruined. What happened to you, Gary?
I went to Japan and met one of my friends over there, and we went for a sit-down menu in a Japanese restaurant.
Right.
So we sat there, and his girlfriend ordered some sushi up.
Yeah.
So this fish appeared, cut down past the gills, all the way down and back with a big steak through it, all the meat and everything it chopped up with some salad on top.
Yeah.
And I thought, I started to eat some stuff, and what was that? And then looked sideways, looked at the fish again, and thought, oh, that was a bit strange. And then I saw its gill start moving, its mouth started moving, and everything else. It had just been pulled out of the tank, chopped down the side, and put on my plate. It's absolutely revolting.
It was alive, and you were eating it, and it was looking at you while you were devouring it.
Basically, a live sushi, yeah. It was still, it was just wrong, but there you go.
Was that the end of the meal, or did you finish it?
No, I didn't finish that. That was the end of the meal at that stage, and, yeah.
Ah!
This is Bob.
How's this IT worker that crashed the NHS email server? What's the biggest mistake you've made at work? Ken?
Right, well, I was working at Glaxo's in Ware.
Yeah.
And we used to have thousands and thousands of aspirins who were left over that were out of spec.
Right.
So I used to convert them into wintergreen oil, for when we play football.
What? You can convert... Now, wintergreen is the stuff that stinks that you rub on your legs so you stay warm when you're playing football, yeah?
That's right.
It's made of old aspirins?
Yes.
I did not know that.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway, they caught fire.
It caught fire?
Oh, you've never seen me move so fast in my life.
How big a fire?
Well, quite big, all across the bench.
Right.
Luckily, I managed to get a fire blanket on it very quickly, otherwise it could have been catastrophic.
Jeez. Now, turning the aspirins into wintergreen, was this part of your job or was this a little sideline?
Sideline.
Oh, what?
Just supply wintergreen for the football team.
Right. Did anyone ever find out what you were up to?
Fortunately, no.
You got away with it?
Yes.
Ken, thanks a lot. Chris brought us a great story earlier about a bloke in France who bought a house and he found it full of gold. And he sold the gold for like 3 million quid. Hooly dooly. What have you found in a place that the other people who live there have left behind? Sarah.
My mum moved into a house and there was a guy, she bought it from a guy who was living with his wife.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's clearing up the kitchen and, right on top of your kitchen cupboards up high, there was a box of love letters and all of his ex-fiancés and writing to him and saying, like, why are you marrying her? Why didn't you marry me?
Oh, no! And he's hidden them and went, wow!
Well, she didn't know what to do with them because she thought, if I forward them on, is the wife going to get annoyed?
Yeah.
Like, are they important? She just didn't know what to do, so I don't actually know what she did do with them in the end.
I wonder why he kept them. Once you get married, that's the end of the game.
Oh, because they weren't that well hidden. It's not like they're under floorboard or something like that. They were on top of the kitchen cupboard. So.
Maybe he wanted his wife to find them.
Oh, maybe.
So that he could go, I got a couple of options still open.
There was more than one ex-fiancé as well.
Was there really? Wow, how interesting. Lost and found stories. What's yours, Dave?
Shopping in Sainsbury's at the Poplars. My wife and I turned up in the car. I got out of the car, and unknown to me, my wallet dropped out of my pocket. Yeah. And we went into the store, did our shopping, got to the checkout. Oh, whoops, no wallet.
Right.
Fortunately, my wife was able to pay by cash, so we got our groceries, went home. I got on the phone pretty quick smart to the police.
Yeah.
And while I was on the phone to the police, there was a knock on the door. There was a guy standing there with my wallet.
Really?
Which is quite remarkable.
Yeah.
What's even more remarkable is the fact that my wallet had no identification in it whatsoever. All they had was cash, credit cards, and he'd found in there a receipt for a hire car which I'd hired in Greece, on a remote island in Greece.
Yeah.
And he got it was at the Alamo company actually, and he contacted Alamo, and they'd given him my address.
Wow.
And he came round and gave it back to me.
So he'd done his own little bit of detective work.
Absolutely.
What a lovely bloke.
What a smashing bloke, absolutely. Yeah.
And what a smart guy too to think, right, what have I got? What evidence have I got? Well, I've got this. This is all I've got to work on. I'm going to follow this path.
Yeah. I was absolutely astonished. It was wonderful, really wonderful.
Yeah, it restores your faith in human nature.
It certainly does, yes.
Did you give him a reward?
Yeah, we gave him the content of the cash.
Did you? He did all right then.
Yeah,
Well, good for him. Fair is fair. It all worked out great. David, that's a brilliant lost story.
It is, isn't it?
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Morning, Floyd.
Smoking in the car.
Uh-huh.
There's a law against it, right?
Yeah.
Why isn't there a law against pregnant women smoking if there's a law against second-hand smoke in a car?
Yes, that seems unfair. You're absolutely right.
And
There's a baby on board.
Pregnant women who are smoking first-hand smoke.
Yes.
And because I see this at work all the time, like this.
Yeah.
There's a pregnant woman and she's smoking, and I don't understand it.
No.
I don't understand why there's a law against second-hand smoke
In a car.
but there isn't a law against that. I don't get it. I just wanted to say that quickly.
No, that is a good point. If you can't have kids, you can't smoke when there's kids in the car, but you can smoke if there's a kid in your womb. What's that all about?
Turn your knob to Bob.
What's the biggest mistake you've made at work? Nancy.
Well, my boss at the time was called Paula. My husband was called Paul. And I sent this email to what I thought was my husband from a slightly risque website, just as a bit of a joke.
Wait a second, back up. What kind of risque website?
Just underwear and things.
Right, so you sent your husband an email. How did you do that from the underwear website?
Just did a screenshot. And
You did a
attached it onto the
screenshot
email.
of some revealing underwear.
That's the one. Yeah.
How explicit?
Pretty. Pretty.
Okay, and what was the message you sent with it to your husband?
It was just, I'm not even going to go there.
No, well, give me a clue. I want to know. What were you suggesting? Were you suggesting your husband was in for a treat?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway, I sent it to my then boss by mistake, because you know when you put in first letter of their name,
It finishes the rest.
Their email.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Anyway, I did realise the minute I'd sent it, I thought, oh my God, what do you do now? You know.
Yeah.
Walked out. She walked past me and she just gave me this look to die for. It was just like completely stony.
Oh, well, that's good though, because if she'd have smirked.
Yes, exactly.
Then it could have changed the at-work relationship completely and would have made things even more awkward.
Oh, my God. Absolutely. So there
Yeah.
you go. That was probably embarrassing for as long as I was there for.
Nancy, thank you very much. When you've moved in somewhere, the stuff you've found that the people who used to live there have left behind. Cherie.
New house, couple of weeks into moving in, decided to go out in the garden, tidy up, put rubbish in the bin, that sort of thing. Decided to dig one of the borders, and as we're digging, there's no plants there. Boink. Okay, metal, hit metal. That's a bit weird. Carried on and sort of scraped it a bit with the spade and thought, oh, that's going to be an old water tank or something from the loft or something like that. As we then cleared it, we realised it was a lot more solid than a water tank, so we got one of the fence posts to lever it out, and it was a safe.
They'd buried a safe in the garden.
And, well, because the house, I'm not implying that it was the people before that, but the house we'd bought was a repossession.
Yeah.
So it had been empty for some time. So whether someone had got into the garden or not, I don't know. But we called the police just to say, look, I don't know if you're interested, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So they sent 2 policemen round, because we'd got it out on the patio and cleaned it down.
Yeah.
And it had, on the bottom of it, had got like a ring of, a concentric ring of holes, like with a drill, in order to prise it open.
Someone had already, it looked like somebody had
tried to get
worked
into
on
it because it was locked.
Yeah.
So the police took it away.
Yeah.
And then probably, this would have been at the weekend, probably 3 or 4 days later, they called me in. And I actually worked for the local group of newspapers at the time, so they were mega excited that, you know, something was going on. So they let me go to the police station.
Yeah.
I was there for a couple of hours, being questioned quite intensely, really.
Oh, they thought you knew a little bit more than you were letting on.
God, you know, you sort of
dear.
think, you know, there's got to do it, but why would you put it in your own garden? But anyway, And then they kept it. They reported back to me it had been stolen from a local firm, but they didn't give me any details or dates or anything. And then, ironically, I had a friend that was the civilian admin person at the Stevenage police station. She's that blooming things in the corridor. We keep catching our tights on it. And it was there for months. And then probably, I don't know, about 6-7 months later, they wrote to me and said, no further process. Would you like it back? I said, no, don't worry about it. You keep it, you dump it. It's because it was, as you can imagine, a safe is ever so heavy.
So they'd managed to get it open though, had they?
They'd managed to get it open. Of course, they're serial numbered, so they could then trace back how...
Did you ever find out what was in it?
I believe it was empty.
Oh, yeah. I don't believe it was empty.
Yeah.
I don't think you would have been questioned the way you were if it was empty.
Absolutely. I mean, it could have been documentation and stuff like that.
But aren't you honest?
It could have been a wad of cash, couldn't it?
Yeah, you went to the... I think if I was going to go to the police, I would go to the police after I'd got it open.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Before. But you may have slipped up there, Cherie.
I know.
But you did the right thing. Wow. Good morning, Mick.
Good morning, Graham. Biggest mistakes at work.
Yes, what have you done?
Every afternoon we get these dodgy phone calls from people, these sellers and that at work.
Yeah.
And you have to drop all your work and you have to go to the phone and do last number redial and it's no number registered. I was working, trying to struggle to get all this work out because I was a bit stressed and snowed under. And then the phone rang about 4 times. I kept on walking to the phone. It was no number redial. And then I picked the phone up, and then it was what you do. You wait for them to start talking, then you know it is. And it all went quiet. So I started like effing and blinding down the phone. Slammed the phone down.
Right.
Did last number redial, and it was a number. So I rang it, and he was a priest, wasn't he? He wanted us to do some work for him. I apologise. I said it wasn't me on the phone. I said there's some bloke in the workshop. I said I was in the toilet.
You lied to a priest.
Yeah.
And that makes it better, does it, Mick? That makes everything all right.
Bob's Breakfast.
It's back on. I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, where celebrities go on bush tucker trials and have to eat bugs and other disgusting stuff. What's the most unusual thing you've ever eaten? Cherie?
A long time ago when I was a teenager, I was in the Army Cadets.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, you get taught several things, camping skills, map reading and all the rest of it, and part of it comes under, like, survival skills and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's only as a proof of point you were encouraged to carry sort of herbs and spices and stuff like that in your kit in case you've got sort of rations that you didn't like or anything. And to prove a point, we cooked worms.
You ate worms?
Yeah, and flavoured them in order to prove a point. It's only meat.
Worms? What were they? They were fried, were they?
Yes.
Fried worms.
Yeah.
And with spices.
Yeah, just whatever we had, Chinese fire spice, garlic, or whatever you could, or even natural stuff, sort of like natural garlic and mint and that sort of thing. It was just to prove a point that you could, if you were that hungry,
yes,
you would eat anything.
Did it prove it? What do worms taste like?
Gristly rubber bands.
And do they have to be filleted or anything?
No, you just throw them in. Just throw them in and and shut your eyes and chew and say, right, I've done it. Get on, move on. So it was just to prove a point.
Cherie, thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure.
Good morning, Dave.
Were you talking about things found in
Yeah.
houses when you moved in?
Yeah.
Well, this gets a bit racy. I found rather a lot of very explicit Polaroids and VHS tape.
Oh my goodness! And these were clearly homemade.
These were clearly homemade with, and the lady in question, well, the men in question, I say men, they were clearly not her husband. We'll call them, they were Caribbean gentlemen, and her husband wasn't.
And it was always the same lady?
It was the same woman, but different Caribbean men in Polaroids and an unplayable VHS tape.
How do you mean unplayable? Unwatchable?
It was, the tape was knackered, so...
Oh, well, how do you know she was on that one, then?
Well, it's probably a good guess if they're all wrapped together.
I see, right. And
between two broken floorboards.
And did you meet the people who you got to play, the previous residents?
It was the saw the lady before moving in there. Yeah.
Holy dooly. I'm Graham Mack, and I hope you're enjoying the podcast. If you are, make sure you share it on Facebook and Twitter, and you can subscribe at iTunes. Parking nightmares, and you've had one, Cherie. Where did they park?
They were parked actually on the hard stand bit outside the front of my garage, so I couldn't even open the garage door.
Really? They blocked you in?
Blocked me in. Well, my husband was going out first, not very impressed. Messed with the wrong person, really, because he was a mechanic and he had a trolley jack.
Right.
So he just jacked it up and left it in the middle of the road.
He jacked up the back of the car, so because the handbrake is on the back wheel. So
and then wheeled it into the middle of the road and left it there.
And left the car.
With a little sign saying, please don't park in front of my garage.
Bob's Breakfast.